All right. So I think the question that is really on everyone's mind is the Bitcoin decoupling. How did Bitcoin perform in all of this? So obviously it has performed surprisingly well. All right. The stock market is down a lot and Bitcoin is down a similar amount. But as we've seen in the past, usually Bitcoin is more swings more in both directions. So when the stock market is down a lot, Bitcoin is down a lot more. But so far, it's been holding up pretty well. So this has led to a sort of wave of commentators opining on the decoupling narrative. So, for example, we had Corey Bates, who's a Bitcoin advocate and market commentator. He says, this is actually wild to see. For the first time, Bitcoin is decoupling right before our eyes. And we had Eric Weiss, founder and chief investment officer of the Blockchain Investment Group. He says, as the tariff war escalates and stocks bleed, Wall Street will eventually realize there's an alternative, Bitcoin. No earnings risk, no geopolitics, just math. The moment capital truly pivots, BTC doesn't just hold up, it outperforms dramatically. And then we've got a few statements from some OGs in the Bitcoin space. Paolo Ardino, Tether CEO, says simply, Bitcoin is the hedge. And then from Michael Saylor, the biggest Bitcoin bull there is, he says, capital faces dilution from taxes, regulation, competition, obsolescence, and unforeseen events. Bitcoin offers resilience in a world full of hidden risks. Now, before we talk a little bit more about the significance of this, I just want to say that it's not actually the first time that Bitcoin has uncoupled from TradFi to an extent. So the last time I think we saw this was March 2023. If you'll recall, there was a banking scare. Regional banks sort of unraveled. We had Silvergate, SVB, Signature. Those were the high-profile casualties. And while that chaos unfolded, Bitcoin went the other way. It climbed something like 35% in that period, which, you could argue reflected a flight from conventional finance. So it's not the first time.
Yep.
David, you want to weigh in here?
Yeah, take some deep breaths, everybody. It's funny. I feel like you've seen hyperventilating on one side, saying that the sky's falling, and then just listening to you rattle off some of these quotes from people, it almost sounds like they're hyperventilating in the other direction, So don't follow Michael Saylor's advice quite yet. Don't sell your children or your kidneys, to buy Bitcoin. And I think that, the asset has held up very, very well. But just remember that if we get like some kind of liquidation cascade, some waterfall down in traditional markets, that maybe will happen in a Black Monday type situation. What you often see is the assets that have held up the best up to that point, for example, traditionally gold, they often sell the hardest and the fastest during these fast moves down. And the reason that this happens is because they've retained their value. They're liquidated first to buttress the other failing positions. And you saw this during the COVID crash. You've seen it in the past. And I'd expect Bitcoin and gold to lead that crash as those positions are. Go ahead.
Yeah, so it's just like if you are holding an asset that hasn't dumped as much as your other assets in your portfolio, and you're thinking, okay, now's my chance to at least get a little bit out of this. I think that's the psychology behind why that might happen, right?
Yeah, but also I remember last time you you saw like, oh, Bitcoin has failed, gold has failed, everything has failed. That's not the case, right? They often, especially in like gold's case, for example, you see this V shape, right? Because there's people who have been patient, they have dry powder, they will snap up that capitulated gold, or maybe in this case Bitcoin, from the forced sellers, basically forced sellers, right? So don't be surprised if that happens. Second thing though is I just see so much short-term thinking and panic, and like you mentioned above, kind of happiness. People just need to take it easy. It's only been a couple days, a couple trading days for this tariff business, so we kind of need to really at least take a midterm view of what's happening, and not react to every single story and movement like an animal, like some kind of dog.
Absolutely. And, with the tariffs, there is still a lot of uncertainty here, right? We were presented a plan, but I think some countries have already negotiated. Things will change here. So there's still a lot of uncertainty about what tariffs end up sticking. It's still early.